What is going on, everybody? This is the Reformation Keegan, and today I'm going to be tier ranking the levels from Crash Bandicoot 1, Crash Bandicoot 2, and Crash Bandicoot 3. So, this is the original trilogy, and I'm going to rank all the levels. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to try and see the pictures as best as I can, so if I squint a little bit, don't mind me because the pictures are rather small. But this tier list has all the levels basically from the first three games, and I'm excited to rank these. As we can see from this tier list, we have the S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, E tier, and F tier. And I'm actually gonna delete one of these rows just because I don't think we need that many. I think this is pretty suitable. So we have the D tier and then the F tier, and I don't really think any of these levels are going to be failures, but we'll see. So first, we have the Lost City. This is from Crash 1. This is a really good level. I'm actually going to put this one in the B tier because I think it's a really solid level. The bats, I know, get annoying for a lot of people, but that's a part of the charm, I think, of the level. You don't want the level to be too easy, but you also don't want it to be too difficult. And Crash 1 has gotten flack for being too difficult, and I totally understand that. But I do think the Lost City is a rather underrated level, and I would have liked to have seen a level like this return actually in Crash 2 or Crash 3, because I think with how much better the next two games were, we could have taken something like the Lost City and added to that. Okay, now we have Temple Ruins. I'm going to put this one in the A tier. I actually think this is one of the better levels of Crash 1. I really like the darkness of it. This is basically Road to Ruin before Road to Ruin. And then what I think they did in Crash 2 is they took what was great in Temple Ruins and they made Road to Ruin out of that. So I think Temple Ruins is definitely one of the better levels of Crash 1. And like I said, I'm going to try and read these as best as I can because these are rather small in their lettering. So please don't mind me. If you're wondering what I'm drinking, it's Pepsi Zero because I do not consume added sugar. Okay, now we have Road to Nowhere. And man, this is a level that I actually enjoy, but I totally understand the problems with it. Because one, how are hogs running on thin air? I get it's a video game, but still. And two, the mechanics can be off, especially when you're playing the PlayStation 1 version. But to me, the aesthetic of the level still looks really cool and all that. I'm actually gonna put it in B tier. Because I don't think it's a bad level. I think with some better mechanics, I think this would be a really top level in the Crash Bandicoot canon. So I'm gonna leave Road to Nowhere there in the B tier. Now we have Boulder Dash. This is the second boulder level, I believe, in Crash 1. So this is the more difficult version of boulders. I'm going to put this one. I mean, it was unprecedented for its time. I'm going to put it in the C tier, and I'm only putting it in the C tier because compared to other chase levels that we see in Crash Bandicoot 2 and 3, you'll know why later. Okay, now we have Sunset Vista. I think, you know what, this is another level. I'm going to put it in the B tier. I think it's a really solid level. Again, the mechanics sometimes can be off, but I would have liked to have seen this kind of level again return in Crash 2. I do think that it was a good level, and I think with Crash 2 you could have improved it even more. And I know this is going to be unpopular, but I wouldn't have even minded in that sixth warp room if we made it an actual warp room in Crash 2 and took out, Snow Go and Road to Ruin and Air Crash and that and just placed the other gems elsewhere, because I think we could have gotten a couple more levels out of Crash 2, even though in my opinion it is the best game of the three. Okay, now we have Heavy Machinery. This is one of the industrial levels of Crash 1. This is another level. I think it's rather solid. I don't think it's a bad level at all. I think it's quite good. Um, I love in Crash 1 how at some of the levels at the beginning, you can see the end of the level, and it's almost like a tease because Crash 1 is so difficult that you can get to the end of the level, but it's going to take a lot to get there. But I think it's pretty funny. We have Heavy Machinery there. Okay, now we have Cortex Power as two levels in level 16 and 17. I don't think that's correct. I could be wrong, but anyway, I'll rate them as both. So we have Cortex Power easy in the A tier. This is one of the top levels of the game in my opinion, and I really like it because I think it's very innovative, very creative. We have the split level, which I think is really cool, and that is capitalized on in Crash 2 with the pits and a couple of other levels, but really solid level. Now we have Toxic Waste. This is another really fun level. I'm gonna put this one in the B tier. I think it's great. I like the dynamics of it, where you're always walking upward and you can't get hit by those barrels. That the mafia guy, as I'm gonna call him. He looks like one of Pinstripe Poker's cronies, but he's throwing these at you, and they roll, and then eventually they bounce, and you have to time the bounce. I actually think it's a really good challenge. I believe you get the blue gem from this one if you beat the level without dying, but that's really difficult, and that's one thing on Crash 1 that I would have taken out is that stipulation that you can't die in order to get a gem, because the game was way too difficult for that. Now we have the high road, and just like its brethren, Road to Nowhere, I am going to put this one also in the B tier. And again, I know some people hate this level. Some people would probably have it in their D or their F section here. But I think it's a really good level. And like I said, if the mechanics were better, I think this would be in the A category. But again, it's my list. But if you want to cheat and run up the rope on these levels, you can. But I think that takes away from the fun. It's a fun challenge. Now we have Insanity Beach. And this is a difficult one because it's the first ever level in Crash history, and it's really easy, but it's supposed to be easy, and to me it sets the tone for all of Crash. I think I have to put it in the S tier, not because it's the best level in terms of quality, but because of its historical significance. I think you have to have it in the S tier, just because. But again, it's nowhere near the best level. But again, still serviceable. But when you look at the beginning of Crash to now, this level is what set the tone for the rest of the games that follow. Now we have Slippery Climb. This is a great level. Absolutely love this level. Easily in the A tier. I wish, this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I wish that Stormy Ascent was included in Crash 1. And I know with the Insane Trilogy, it was added on as an optionable download, which I played. It was a lot of fun. But Slippery Climb's a really good one. I actually don't think the mechanics are all that bad for this one, and it's again just a very fun level. Takes place in the rain. You have people trying to grab your ankles as you're walking by. It's a really fun level with a great aesthetic. Okay, now we have Lights Out. I like this level. I'm gonna put this one in the A tier, and I know again some people probably don't like this level because it's a bit too difficult, but I personally don't think it's all that difficult. I think once you get the timing down, this is actually a rather fun level because, like the title says, the lights are completely out. But the fun part is that Aku Aku is your light, and he is in this game anyway because he'll save you more times than one, and that's exactly what this level is showing us. And I like too that there's hidden boxes in the back that you got to grab too. I think that adds to the challenge. But I just think it's a really cool looking level. It's inside Cortex's castle, and I just think it's a really fun level. Now we have Jaws of Darkness. This is another one too that I'm gonna put in the A tier. Again, people will probably complain about the difficulty, but I think this level is utterly fantastic. Again, kind of like Temple Ruins, I think it gives a great aesthetic, and to me, it's actually like a predecessor to Road to Ruin and Ruination and Crash 2. So I really do like that level. Okay, so now we have Castle Machinery. I'm going to put this one also in the B tier. I'm going to put it with Heavy Machinery. I think this is a really fun level. Again, people will probably complain about the mechanics of this level and the timing, but I think that's part of its charm. And when you look back at Crash 1, I think a part of its charm was that it was so difficult, but if you beat it, you're one of the exclusive members of the I beat the Crash Bandicoot 1 game Crash Club. I guess if you want to call it that. But I think it's a fun level. I don't know, there's not really anything bad about it. The lab is an interesting one because I really like this level, but I do find it quite difficult. But I am gonna put it in the B tier because I do think it has a super cool aesthetic to it, and I feel like it's one of those levels that gives you a dopamine rush once you beat it, because you know you're right near the end of the game once you do beat this level. And I think I like it because it requires a lot of timing, it requires a lot of precision, and it requires a lot from the player to stay patient. So this is a level that you cannot rush. Okay, now great we have the Great Hall. It's not really a level. You know, the Great Hall is not really a level in in Crash, but I guess I'll put it in the D tier because it looks cool once you beat all the stuff in the game. So yeah, like I mean, it's a cool little celebration, but it's not really a level. So I can't really. I guess I'll put it in D tier because it's not an abject failure either. Okay, Jungle Rollers. This is a fun level. I'll put this one. I'll put this one in the. I'll put this one in the C tier, because again, it's the second level of the game. It's fun, but it doesn't have the historical significance of Insanity Beach. So, I, yeah, I can't really put it any higher than C. But it is a fun level that introduces the gamer again to the mechanics of the game and introduces them to obstacles that are going to be pretty much omnipresent throughout the duration of the game too. Now we have the Great Gate. This one is fine. I'll put it in C tier. Again, it's fine. Nothing really super wrong with it, but like it's just to me a basic level. I think the aesthetic looks cool, but to me, I think again some of the mechanics in this, if you're playing the PlayStation One version, are a little bit off, and that can end up getting annoying. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad level either. I just think it's decent. And the same thing with Boulders, which is the first chase level ever in a Crash game. But I'll also put it in C tier next to its brother in Boulder Dash because it's not a bad level, but Crash runs, in my opinion, way too slow for especially for this level. Because like even if you stutter step once, you're done. Whereas in Crash 2, in Crash 3, that gets rectified with their chase levels. So I'm gonna keep Boulders in the C tier. Now we have Upstream. Again, I'll put it in the C tier. It's not a bad level, but like nothing remarkable either. To me, it's just a standard level. But again, there's nothing really wrong with it. Um, Rolling Stones. Again, I'll put this in the C tier. There's not really anything wrong with it, but to me, it's just not like it's not a great level, but it's fine and it's just kind of there. So that's why it's going to be in the C tier. Hog Wild. You know what? I don't know if some people love this one or not. I'm gonna put this one in the A tier, because it's the first riding level, but at the same time, it's fun to ride this hog because this hog is just running all over and you have to control the hog. And actually, the controls aren't that bad for this riding level, and I think it's a lot of fun. But the way that Crash stares into the screen with the hog facing backwards and him smiling at you and raising his eyebrows. Ugh, it's a bit of an image, but again, really fun level and short. It's a short, compact level, but it requires you to execute a lot of sharp turns and things like that. But to me, I had fun playing it. Now we have Native Fortress. I will put this one in the B tier because I think it is a lot better than the Great Gate and a little bit more difficult. And I actually think this one poses a really good challenge. And again, the indigenous aesthetics of this one are absolutely beautiful. So I'm gonna put it in the B tier. Now we have Up the Creek. Again, kind of like Upstream. To me, it's just a standard level. I think Crash 2 gets this perfectly because they take the elements from Upstream and Up the Creek and they make Hang 8 and Air Crash out of that. And spoiler, Air Crash is one of the best levels in Crash history, in my opinion. I think it's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, they take stuff from these two levels and make it into Air Crash and Hang 8. Now we have Whole Hog, and so this is the variant level of Hog Wild. I will put this one in the A tier. No, not in the S tier, in the A tier. Don't get ahead of yourself. But this is a really fun level too. It's a little bit more difficult than Hog Wild, but I think these ride levels were actually highlights of Crash 1 because they're not long levels. They're compact and they're a lot of fun, and they have the player introduce themselves to faster mechanics, whereas Crash is usually really slow in this game. But I think these race levels were a lot of fun, or not race levels, riding levels were a lot of fun. Now we also have Fumbling in the Dark. I will put this one as well in A tier with Lights Out because again, it's the harder version of Lights Out. But I do think it's a lot of fun, and it's one of those levels that gives you a dopamine rush. Like I said earlier, when you beat this level, you feel very accomplished, and I think that's what you need to feel when you beat a level in a video game. And now we have Stormy Ascent. Some people they think that this level's too difficult, and even the creators, Naughty Dog, when they made this level, they took it out at the last minute because they thought it was too difficult. But I think with hacking devices and stuff like that, you could still get the level in the regular PlayStation. But like I mentioned a bit earlier, um, Toys for Bob, no, sorry, not Toys for Bob, Activision put the level in as an optional downloadable content within the Insane Trilogy. I'm gonna put it in the S tier. I really am because I think this honestly should have been the final level of Crash 1 because the game was already hard enough. But this level is beatable. It really is beatable. And I actually don't think it's as hard as people say. But I will say that this is a level that if you beat this right before you fight Dr. Neo Cortex, you will feel so accomplished. And I think that's what this game needed. Even though this game to me is still one of the best PlayStation games of all time, I think that we needed, again, that final level to give us that sense of accomplishment before we go beat Cortex. So now we're on to Crash 2. And you guys know that this is my favorite Crash game of all time. And we have the Eel Deal. So the Eel Deal is going to be a unique one because I think I'm going to put it in B tier. Because again, I think the aesthetics of the level look cool, like the rustic elements in that, and you get the green gem out of this one. It's not a bad level. It's actually pretty good, and to me, a lot of fun. Now we have Plant Food. So Plant Food is the other level that I think that Naughty Dog took inspiration from with Up the Creek and Upstream, and this is a really good level. I'm gonna put this one at A. I think this is a really good one. It's difficult, but it's the fair type of difficult. And the dopamine rush that you get when you beat this level, again, I think is great because you have Crash riding the jet ski and he's got to try to not get eaten by the fly traps, which I think is really cool. But yeah, I think this was a really, really good level. Now we have Sewer or Later. I'll put this one in the B tier. Again, they're not these levels aren't bad. These sewer ones. But to me, they're kind of one and the same, especially these two. Hanging Out's a different story, but I think these two are very similar, except with Sewer Later being a little bit more difficult. But the wordplay on the title, absolutely top notch. Now we have Bear Down, which again is the more difficult version of Bear It. And I'll put this one in the A tier because I think this is a really fun level. The aesthetic is absolutely beautiful. Of you riding Polar, basically in the sunset. Looks great. The aesthetics look great. The mechanics are pretty good. Just a solid, really, really good level. Now we have Road to Ruin from Crash 2. And I will put this one in the S tier because I think this level, again, aesthetically, beautiful. Not too difficult, but still a really good challenge. And then you have the death roots and etc. and the extra gem. So to me, this is what makes Crash Bandicoot. And again, they took elements from Crash 1, like with Temple Ruins and even Jaws of Darkness, and they made Road to Ruin. That's the combination that we got, and it's such a beautiful level, such a great level. And the soundtrack for Road to Ruin and Ruination, maybe the best in the game. Now we have Unbearable. This is, to me, the peak of chase levels in Crash Bandicoot, and I will put Unbearable in the S tier because again, you have a really good section too, where it's an additional bonus round where you jump in and then you have the lab assistant. He's shooting at you in a Crash game, which is unique because we saw it with Pinstripe Putter in Crash 1. But this level's great because one, the aesthetics, but also you're getting chased by a polar bear and not just a big boulder. And this is a really angry looking polar bear, fits perfectly with the game. And at the end, you get to ride Polar to ride away from this bigger polar bear. Absolutely incredible. And then, if you go back, you unlock the level Totally Bear, which is also a really, really good level in this game. Okay, up next we have Hanging Out. This is the last of the sewer levels. I will put this one also in A tier because this is the best of the three sewer levels in Crash 2. But I like this one because there's other elements to it that I think make it a little more difficult, especially near the conclusion. And it's one of those levels that you feel very satisfied with beating once you eventually do overcome all the other obstacles. Okay, now we have Digging It. These are the B levels in Crash. I'll put Digging It in B. The B levels aren't really my favorite, but I will acknowledge that they are fun when they want to be. No pun intended on that. But yeah, like digging it's a good level. I'm not a huge fan of the bee levels, but again, the aesthetics look great, and also getting chased by bees is something that like I think we can relate to, but it's not really that big of a threat as opposed to a polar bear, which is why I don't know why the polar bear was placed in the third warp room and not the fourth. But again, overthinking it. But again, digging it's a lot of fun. We have Cold Hard Crash. So again, another very polarizing level. I'm gonna put Cold Hard Crash in the S tier because yes, it's a very difficult level, but also one that's very rewarding. And I think the level's great. I mean, getting the red gem in this one will probably take years off your life, but when you eventually get that red gem, there's no other feeling in the world. And I think the level's really good. These snow levels in Crash are amazing. Okay, now we have Ruination. So again, like Road to Ruin, it will be put in the S tier. And oh yeah, I accidentally put Cold Hard Crash in the A tier. It belongs in the S tier. Fix that quickly. But yes, we also have to put Ruination in the S tier. So scroll back up, put Ruination in the S tier. Absolutely. This level's amazing. And again, it's difficult but very rewarding, and the aesthetics are absolutely beautiful. And if I remember correctly, you can see Cortex's castle in the background, or at least a part of it. But it looks really, really cool. And I think you can see it in Road to Ruin too. Actually, I think you see it more in Road to Ruin than you do in Ruination, but you have to look really closely. Okay, now we have Turtle Woods. This is the opening level of Crash 2. And I will put this one in the I'll put this one in the B level. It's very serviceable, and I think it's a great introduction to Crash 2, because I think it's not too difficult, but you have enough to know what you're doing in the game already, and it shows how great the mechanics have improved from Crash 1, along with the graphics. But the graphics in Crash 1 were still really good. But Turtle Woods, a lot of fun. Now we have Behaving. I'll put this one as well in the B tier. Again, like I've said, I don't really enjoy the B levels as much as maybe other people do, but they're definitely not bad either. And having the nitro crates not move, but you have to jump on them like steps to unlock a gem, I think is absolutely brilliant. It's an okay level. Actually, I think it's good. It's just the bias in me's coming out right now, but yeah, it's still a good level. I just don't enjoy the B levels that much from a personal enjoyment point of view. Okay, now we have Piston It Away, and I love this level. I think this is an S tier level, because it's very fitting for the final warp room for its difficulty, but also again in terms of how it looks, to me an amazing level. Okay, now we have Rocket, and Rocket's an interesting one because some people really love the jetpack levels, some people hate them. I'll be fair. I'll put Rocket in B. Some people might put it in C. Some people have it in A. I'll balance it out and put it in B. Because again, some people complain about the mechanics of the jetpack, but I didn't really find them that bad. In my opinion, I thought they were fine. Now we have Night Fight, which is basically the pits. Yeah, it's basically the pits and at night. I'll put it in B level because I do think it's a lot of fun and I do think it's a nice variant. And there are a lot more obstacles in this one. And again, it's taking something from Crash 1 that worked and adding more to it. Even though I do think Lights Out is a better level, I do think that Night Fight is a lot of fun. Okay, now we have Pack Attack, which is the brethren of Rocket. I'll also put this one in B tier because the levels are very similar. Not really anything wrong with them. I think the difficulty's fair. I think the mechanics are actually, like I said, fine. Not really anything wrong. But now we have Spaced Out, and this is another level that I'm actually going to put in S tier because I do think that this level is amazing, and I think it picks up right where Piston It Away left off. These futuristic levels looked really, really cool, and again, the difficulty I thought was very, very fair. Okay, now we have Totally Bare, and I'm gonna put this one in the A level. It's a quick level, but it requires a lot of precision from the player, with especially with a lot of the running and the jumps and the turns and things in that nature. But I think it's an A level because I think it is a really nice looking level, and also I think the difficulty's fine, and it's basically bear it and bear down at night, which I think's a lot of fun. Okay, so Totally Fly. This is a fine level. Um, I'll put this one in C. Actually, I think it was okay. Not really anything wrong with it. Yeah, not really anything wrong with it, but it is just an extra level that's not like fully a part of the regular game, but it's okay. So I'll just put it in C. S- Snow Go is absolutely S tier. This is the first snow level of Crash, and also it's not difficult, but this level it's very replayable and just so much fun, and I really enjoy it. So it's gonna go in S tier for me. Hang 8, I'm also going to put in S tier, not because it's the easy or the hardest level. It actually takes place right after Snow Go, but again, this is what I'm talking about with Crash innovating. You take something from Crash 1 like Upstream and Up the Creek, you take its benefits and you make it even bigger and make it better. And that's what Hang 8 did, and you get to ride a jet ski for the first time ever too, which is a lot of fun. And again, the difficulty is more than fair. Okay, the pits. I'll put this one in B. It's not a bad level. It reintroduces us to the dual lanes in Crash, and I don't think it's a bad level. I'm not a fan though of going down in games, like going down into holes and pits and things like that. So to me, with this kind of 3D platformer, that was a little bit off-putting, but I thought it was fine, and the level overall was good. Now we have Crash Dash. I think this is one of the better chase levels. I will put this one in A tier. I think this was a great introduction to the chase levels in Crash 2. And again, it takes what Boulders had and maximizes it. And this time it's a big snowball, which I think is really cool. So again, for me, it goes in the A tier. Okay, now we have Snowbiz. I think this is another level that I'm gonna put in the S tier. I think this is one of the best levels in the history of the game. Again, like Cold Hard Crash, its difficulty is there, but it takes something from Snow Go and it adds even more to it within the same game. And these snow levels are a lot of fun. And again, it challenges your ability with the mechanics in the game too. But to me, Snowbiz absolutely an S tier level. As is Air Crash, which I said earlier. This is again one of the best levels in the history of the game. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It 100% belongs in the S tier. And again, the difficulty's fine, but man, the aesthetics on this level, the difficulty rate, absolutely amazing. Really, really fun if you haven't played it. So now we have Barrett, which I'm gonna put in the A tier as well. I thought this was a really fun level. It's actually my mom's favorite level. Um, she loves riding Polar in this game. Uh, so I mean, I really like this level too. It's the first Polar level, and I do think that again, Bear Down and Totally Bear eventually are better versions of this, but I do think Barrett is a solid, great introduction, and again, a really quick level, which helps because a lot of the other levels are more slower paced. Okay, and now we have Crash Crush, which I will also put in the A level. I thought this was a really good chase level. I remember when I was younger, I really didn't like the chase levels that much, but then as I've gotten a bit older, I've started to like them a lot more. So I have a newfound appreciation for chase levels, and Crash Crush is a really, really solid challenge. Okay, so now we're on to Crash 3 Warped. So this is the game that a lot of people actually have as their best. And to me, it's always a toss up between 2 and 3, even though I think 2 is the best. But if you said 3, I wouldn't disagree with you either. So here we go. What do we have? Okay, we're starting with Midnight Run. This is a really good level. It takes where Orient Express left off, but at night and a little bit more difficult. I'm going to put. I think it's fair since we have the polar levels here. We'll put the pure levels in A as well. Really, really good level here and easily replayable. Very, very fast paced, very quick. And I really can't say anything bad about it. Okay, so now we have Dynamite. I will put this one in B. Um, Again, really fun level. I thought that the prehistoric levels in Crash 3 looked fantastic, and I think there was discussion about whether or not to include them, probably because of Crash's orange fur and also the orange of the lava. I think it looked great regardless. And you get to ride a baby T-Rex, which like to me I think is the coolest thing ever. So I thought it was really cool to include Dynamite in the game, and just again a really fun level. Okay, now we have Deep Trouble. I'm not the biggest fan of the swim levels. I'm gonna put it in C. I appreciate the effort that was put into making Crash 3 as dynamic as possible, but to me, like the jet ski or whatever you want to call it that you ride on, the shape it's kind of shaped like a fish. When you ride on that, it goes way too fast, and I feel like Crash swims way too slow. But that's just a mechanical problem. But like to me, just the swimming levels were never a big interest of mine. They're not bad, but I don't think they're extraordinary either, which is why I'm gonna put them in C. Now we have high time. This is a great level, easily in the A level. This is the harder version of Hang 'em High, basically, and it's a really good level. This takes place in the third warp room before you fight Entropy, and it's just a really fun level. Now we have Road Crash, and again, I appreciate the aesthetics, but again, it's just a level to me that I think it's there and it looks great, but I just don't think it performs as well. Like I think the motorcycles have a little bit of a mechanical problem, except there is one or two motorcycle levels that I think are really good. But for me, like with Road Crash, there was too many pivots, too many twists and turns, and to turn was extremely difficult, especially in Road Crash, in my opinion. So I'll put that in the C tier. Double Header is a really solid level. I'll put this one in the B level because again, it's one of the medieval levels, and the difficulty is amped, but because it's more difficult doesn't always mean it's better, and that's why I'm gonna put Double Header in the B tier. Sphinxinator, I will put easily in the A tier. This level looks great. I love these Egyptian levels in Crash 3. This one looks phenomenal, but there is another one that I think is just as good, if not better. That's to come. Bye Bye Blimps, I'll put this one in the C tier as well. I don't. I appreciate the effort to make the game dynamic, but to me these blimp ones, they're either really good or they're really bad. And I think this one was okay. I don't think it was great. Just because I appreciate, again, I like the objective of it, but I don't find it's a strong level. It's just kind of there and it's okay. But sometimes that's okay. Sometimes you need levels like that are a bit of a break from these other extraordinary ones. And I think that's why Bye Bye Blimps is here, and I think it serves its purpose. Okay. Now we have Tell No Tales. I'll put this one in the B level. And again, the aesthetics are great. I don't think the jet ski controls all that well. I think I think it's all right. I don't know. I mean, I if I had to pick, like Tell No Tales would be the best one out of these kind of levels in Crash 3. But they look cool. The music's great, but I think it was missing something to make it like a level for lack of a better phrase. But yeah, like I think it was fine. Hey, let me know what you think. I've heard people really like these jet ski levels and others really don't. For me, I'm more in the middle. Okay, now what do we have here? Future Frenzy, S tier, absolutely S tier. A lot of people think this is one of the harder levels in the game. I don't think it's that difficult. I think it's great. I think the gameplay's great. The aesthetics look great. Like this futuristic era, especially within the fourth and fifth warp rooms in Crash 3, are absolutely brilliant. Future Frenzy is one of the best levels to me ever. It looks great, and I never get tired of it. Usually when I play Crash 3, Future Frenzy is one of the first levels I go to go play again, just for personal enjoyment. Now we have Toad Village. This again, I'll put in the B tier. I think this is a really solid level. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I'm gonna put it in the A tier. I think this was a heck of a way to start Crash 3. It was a really good introduction. Again, the level's not difficult, but the music, the aesthetic, this medieval aesthetic, I think looks really good in Crash 3. It fits with the theme of the Time Twister as well, and I really enjoy this level. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in A tier. Why not? Okay, Tomb Waiter. This is the one I was telling you about. Sphinxinator was at A, but Tomb Waiter easily S tier, because I think this level is incredible. It's not hard per se, but it is a stiff challenge. And I do think that the aesthetic of this one again might be the best in the history of the game, along with like Future Frenzy and those futuristic levels. But yeah, Tomb Raider absolutely S tier. Okay, and Gone Tomorrow again. It's gonna meet its friend Future Frenzy in the S tier. Looks absolutely brilliant. Um, it's very fitting for Crash 3. I also think these levels, these futuristic levels, could have fit in Crash 2 with like spaced out and pissing it away. But then I think you would have had a bit too much of a futuristic setting in Crash 2. So I think Naughty Dog got it correct with adding these into the third game. Okay, now we have Orange Asphalt. I will put this one in the A level because it's actually easier than Road Crash, and I think it's a lot of fun. This is a really fun level, and again, it's a good challenge. And the mechanics I feel like aren't as bad in this one. I feel like there's like less holes in the road and things like that make it a little more fun. And we also have Flaming Passion. That'll also go in the A tier. Just a really solid level in my opinion. Mad Bombers is fine. I think this is better than Bye Bye Blimps, but again, I'm not a huge fan of these kind of levels. I'll put it in the C tier, but I do believe that the aesthetic for Mad Bombers does look pretty cool. But again, these just aren't my favorite levels, even though I can appreciate them for what they are. Okay, so we have Bug Light now. I will put this one in the A level. I think it's the weakest of the three Egyptian levels that we see, but I don't think it's bad either. It's very, very good. It's just it has a really high bar when going against Sphinx Nader and Tomb Raider. So I think it's got a good place there. I wouldn't have made this the final level though. I wouldn't have made this level 25. I would have made it something else, but maybe we'll get to that in a few minutes. But yeah, Bug Light. It's not a bad level. I think it's very good. Okay, now we have Ski Crazed. I feel like I'm gonna put this level in C. I don't really. Again, like these jet ski levels are not my favorite, but they're also not bad either. I feel like this level's just there. I can appreciate the difficulty of it, but I don't think it's fantastic either. But we do have this one, Area 51. And this is where I think people might disagree with me. I'm going to put this one in the S tier just off of sheer innovation alone. Like I don't even think it's a hard level. I think it's actually relatively easy. I mean, I got the platinum relic in this one, which was pretty cool. But like, I mean, you're racing UFOs in Area 51, in like Nevada. Like, this is really really cool. And yeah, like I just think this is a really really unique level. Lots of creativity. This easily could have not been an additional level and could have been in the actual game. Like, I would have taken Road Crash out, just completely out of the game, and replaced it with Area 51 and maybe put Area 51 in the fourth or fifth warp room instead of Orange Asphalt. But let me know what you think, because I think this level's brilliant. I think it's super underrated, and I just think it looks fantastic. And you're racing UFOs, man. Like in the Time Twister, I think that's really really cool. Okay, we also have Under Pressure. Again, sea level. Not really a big fan of the swimming levels, but that's just my opinion. I do think they look cool. I just don't think they perform as well. Rings of Power. Man, I want to love this level, but I'm gonna put it in C. I never got into it. I tried to like this level, and I just don't. It feels more like the spiral levels where you are going through the rings to try to collect things, and that's to me what Rings of Power feels like. And I just feel like they're okay. Like, it feels more like a boss battle to me in a lot of ways, just because it's like it feels more like a trial and error level. Hot Cocoa is another one. Like, I think I'll put it in C as well. Just again, I think it's an alright level. The difficulty, like I said, is there, kind of like Ski Crazed, but I think both of these levels are fine. I think Coco's had way better levels in this game, but yeah, like the ski levels besides Tell No Tales, I think are, I think they're just okay. Yeah, and then we have Oedipus Rex, which I'll put in the B level actually, because like I don't think these levels are bad, but they're very innovative and very cool looking. And again, you get to ride a freaking baby T-Rex. Like, I mean, like, what else could you want, right? It's really cool. Same thing with Orient Express, like easy A level. Like I think this is right. I think this actually might be the best riding level in my opinion. Like, as much as I love Barrett and Bear Down and Totally Bear, I feel like Orient Express is just so cool because like you're not just riding Pura and playing as Coco, but you're riding on a Great Wall of China that's like still not fully done yet, which I think is really really cool. So fits the Time Twister theme too. Now we have Boneyard. I'll put this one in B level because it's not, to me, it's not as good as like Dynamite or anything like that. But like I think it's there. I think it's a solid level. Let me know what you guys think because I do think that it's a fun level, but I just don't think it's hard. And also, but getting chased by a Triceratops is pretty cool, even though they probably don't run that fast. But let me know what you think. Making Waves, same thing. Put it in the C tier. Not a bad level, just there's not like, to me there's not like a oomph to it, even though I do think like some of the obstacles are pretty cool. But like other than that, there's not, just to me it's more, it should be more open world, but like it looks open world, but it's not really like, not really my favorite one. Gee Whiz is pretty good actually. I'll put that at B level. Like it's not like accomplishing a lot, but it's still a really good level, just a solid level in the game. But speaking of not solid, speaking of being one of the best levels in the history of the game, we have Hang 'em High. This is to me a top notch level, and I know I just put it in the B tier, but I have to scroll up. It's definitely in the S tier. Like this is one of the best levels ever, man. Like the aesthetic of this is incredible. The gameplay is incredible. The music is incredible. I can't say enough good things about Hang 'em High. Definitely one of the better games ever. Hog Ride I'll also put in C. I just think it was fine. It's kind of like Road Crash a lot, where it's just the obstacles are there, but like they kind of don't need to be. And yeah, I don't know. It was okay. Nothing bad though, like nothing terrible. But we also have Tomb Time, which is another great one. I'll put this one in the A tier as well. Like I said, all of these Egyptian levels were fantastic, and that's why I think Bug Light being the final one is a little bit, I don't want to say underwhelming, but it's almost the weakest one out of the four, I would say. And I can't remember if I said three earlier, but there's four, and that's saying a lot though because these are four top levels. And now we have Future Tense. So this is the add-on to the Insane Trilogy version, and I think this level, if it was in the regular game, would be regarded as an absolute all-timer. It's difficult, but it's fair, and it's going in the S tier because it's taking what Future Frenzy and Gone Tomorrow did and just adding more and maximizing to that. And this also would have been a perfect final level for Crash 3, in my opinion. Like, because I believe Future Frenzy is in the 4th Warp Room, and then Gone Tomorrow is in the 5th with Cortex. I wouldn't put 2 in the same warp room, but what I would do is I would move Future Frenzy to the 3rd warp room. And then I would have Gone Tomorrow in the 4th, Future Tense in the 5th, because this level is absolutely incredible. If you've never played it, get the Insane Trilogy on the PlayStation 4/PlayStation 5, and please play this level. It's not easy, but you'll have a massive reward at the end of it when you beat it, because I think there's a couple gems. There's no crystal for this one, but you'll enjoy this level. It's so beautiful to even look at aesthetically. So it goes in the S tier. So this is my tier list. We got a few in the C tier, nothing in the, or sorry, just one in the D tier, but it's not even a level. It's a great haul. Nothing in the F. B tier is pretty filled up. A tier is really filled up, and the S tier is pretty solid in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think. Also, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. If you want me to do a tier ranking on Crash 4 levels, let me know, because there are some really good ones in Crash 4. But again, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2026. And in the meantime, I'll be putting out more videos of comic stuff, like comic pickups, reviews, etc. And I'll be back with more relatively